what don't let the thickness of the packet scare everybody too much. I think it's just a lot of information. But with that, I will call this meeting to order. Jeremy, please do roll call.
Yes. Bradford.
Here.
Decker.
Yes.
Hannaford.
Here.
Eaton. Here. Leeper.
Here.
Murphy.
Here.
Stats.
Here.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody being here. Agenda item 3. I know Jeremy sent this out, but if you need to take a little bit of time to look over and when ready, I would accept the approval of minutes for September 13th, 2022.
I'm going to accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, I've got a motion by Randy. Do I have a second, Jeremy?
Oh,
I
caught you. I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right. I have a motion by Randy, a second by Jeremy to approve the minutes. I'm sorry, roll call?
Bradford.
Yes.
Decker.
Yes.
Hannaford.
Yes.
Eaton.
Yes.
Leeper.
Yes.
McMurphy.
Yes.
Stats.
Yes.
Okay, agenda item 4, approval of financials. Jeremy, anything you want to cover on financials?
The only thing to point out is we have received pledge funds. So you'll see under the pledge portion, it lists those that have made their payments, and that has not carried over yet. This is as of November 30th. I thought it would be best to do it that way. And the Woods County Industrial Development Authority, just waiting to bundle them all instead of having them write a check every single time. So that will be the difference that you see in regards to the pledge that aren't in there yet.
So the profit loss, that would also change that number then on the
yes,
profit loss sheet?
Yes.
On our, and I think before I do this, do we have, just see if we're looking at this, on the pledges and stuff, are we looking at similar amount of people, a few more people looking to?
Well, I do have a couple of other possible establishments with the university included in that. NBC is looking into it, and there's one more. I was able to get OMG to come back on. They had not been paying. I got Cargill to up theirs, so that was good. And then we got Edward Jones also. They had not been on before, so they've come on. So we've had an increase there, but it is a decrease in the sense of what the commitment from Bank Central had been in the past. The previous year, they only paid $1,750. I was rather surprised, actually, they did match that $1,750 this time around.
So the same amount?
Yeah,
Okay.
we did get something from Bank Central, which is good.
Yeah. Correct. Any other questions? Hearing none, do I have approval for financials for November 30th, 2022?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Thank you. Roll call?
Bradford.
Yes.
Decker.
Yes.
Hannaford.
Yes.
Eaton.
Yes.
Leeper.
Yes.
McMurphy.
Yes.
Stats.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Number 5, you can see we have several on updates and discussions and some possible action. So we'll start with letter A, donor appreciation dinner. I'll just start off. Number 1, Jeremy, I think it was a great job. I think it was a great turnout. I think people enjoyed it. So any other updates you'd like to give us on that?
The only thing I can say is have had, since we had that appreciation dinner, we have a lot of businesses that have contacted me, getting some data for them, and also just kind of on a few, walking them through that OG&E presentation and where they can find it on their own, and then just a lot of the ones that perhaps didn't attend, I have informed them what was discussed and some of the things that are available. So just passing on the word, getting it out there.
Which I think that's great. That's exactly what we wanted to do it for. So.
Great event.
Yep. Thank you. And I'm assuming everybody's kind of in favor of maybe continuing to do that. If not every year, at least every other year or something?
I would say every year an annual type thing is good. The only thing that I've brought up is that I've seen other annual reporting type events done where we had this time around it was a dinner. Ponca City had made it a mixer one time where there was heavy hors d'oeuvres. And they had stations of things you can kind of find out about. So it could be kind of a mix of things like that. Then perhaps the following year there's a dinner again and something. Just kind of to make it fresh each time.
Any other questions about donor appreciation dinner? Okay, we'll move on. There's no possible action on that. For B, obviously we do for voting for officers next year. And I would, I'll talk to the individual. I'm not leaving the council, but I would make a motion to nominate Jeremy Eaton for president. If anybody is not opposed or would like to else run or volunteer.
I'll second that.
Okay. I have a motion and a second for Jeremy Eaton to be president. Any other candidates? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Move nomination cease.
I'm sorry?
Move nomination cease.
Second.
We will move forward. Jeremy, roll call for president.
Bradford,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Eaton,
Yes.
Leeper,
Yes.
McMurphy,
Yes.
Stat.
Yes.
A little bit of hesitation from Eaton.
Yeah, it was fine. And then I guess protocol, I don't know if now I need to turn this over to Jeremy or finish this part out or. Since he's the new, or I guess this would be new president for next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, vice presidents. Do we have any nominations or volunteers?
Is Randy the vice president?
President, yep, Randy is the vice president, has done a great job, knows what he's doing.
Randy, do you want to keep doing it?
Yeah, you don't have to do anything, so I'm good with that.
Okay, we have a nomination of, for Randy for vice president. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call vote for vice president. Jeremy?
Bradford,
Yes.
Decker,
Did you call my name?
yes.
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Eaton,
Yes.
Leeper,
Yes.
McMurphy,
Yeah.
Stat.
Is I guess in order? Yes.
Okay. And finally, secretary, which in the past was Dr. Decker.
I know, she needs to stay that way.
Thanks, Randy.
Okay? I think that's an acceptance. Yeah. So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
You're welcome, Jack.
Second.
I have a second. Anybody would like to fight that nomination and get in the mix? Everybody looks happy. Roll
I think
call.
Jack Stats make a perfect secretary.
He'll get his soon.
Bradford,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Eaton,
Yes.
Leeper,
Yes.
McMurphy,
Yes.
Stat.
Definitely yes.
Thank you very much. Congratulations for next year's officers. C, website design proposals. Jeremy?
Oh, yeah, so I've discussed this before about getting someone, not only maybe the website, but perhaps even getting some sort of Facebook monthly thing, just getting the whole social media and website. I've talked about the web developer who works with just kind of getting the website itself out there and notice, creating material. She had created a few pieces for us for free, and that's Candy Brossman. That was part of the OC Digital Strategies. I think also another discussion that was brought up was possibly, Bo and I had discussed an intern opportunity as a possibility. And then another one that was brought up was Emma Klein. So they had submitted their proposals so we can have some web development. As you would see in the budget that we have, It's 5,000 that's set aside for that particular topic, or I guess subject of the website.
This one
And-
was just a little under 4,000 if I remember.
Well, so on both cases, I've done the math, and I've talked to both that had submitted who are willing to be flexible. One with Candy and OC, we would be looking at her contract going to September, and that would drop the cost of what she had submitted would be on a 12-month basis. For Emma, her contract, I had talked to her and said that with the additional costs that we have for website, she would need to drop hers $2,500, and she had agreed that she would do that in order for that to work. Marketing Alliance, who we have the website through, there's $590 that goes to them. That keeps everything that we have, and that is what Emma or Candy, or if we go the other possible route, would be working out of. Then there's a total of, I believe it's $60, $30 for our domain name, $30 for the domain name that is, our domain name is woodscountyok.com. The other domain name is .org. So that's just a prevention for someone to take that domain name and make it a, something completely different that we don't want them to do. So that's where those expenses are, and I had submitted those proposals. Part of what we're looking at is making it just have a lot more meat to it. I've added a couple of things to it itself, but this would give us an opportunity on a monthly basis to have some things such as building update, adding more buildings that are there. It would be, what I like to see is eventually each community have their own page, so there's a link so they can find out a little bit more on the quality of life, as well as just kind of updates on the pictures that we have that are there right now. Just kind of that monthly that I was talking about. So maybe it would be every 6 months we do a fresher picture update and have things more seasonal perhaps. So that's what I was looking towards when it comes to this website design and help.
Any questions for Jeremy?
How much was the final bid, Jeremy?
For, actually,
Maybe you should start, do you have a recommendation of which bid you feel is best?
that's why I wanted to bring it to you. Both. One of them, with Candy, I've found a lot of good experience with her, and what she does definitely generates more of getting the website out there, search engine opportunities. Those are, kind of her wheelhouse. Also, though, the one thing, and this is not to put as a negative, she's been building a lot of clientele. So I don't know what that really means towards, I know we're a priority, would be a priority, but would that mean we would have things done in a quicker manner than perhaps Emma, who also is local, is someone who, if you've seen the Chamber's website and their page, you can kind of see a little bit more of what that entails. This also can be something if you need more time to look at and see the options. This could be something decided in March, but I wanted to bring it up now. Definitely time flies, and as you'll hear from my report of some of the things that I have in the works, if it starts in March, that would not be an issue for me.
No, Jeremy, I'm looking at this, is this correct? On the OC one, it's $39.50 plus $199 a month?
Yes, so the $39.50 is their services. I think there's a breakdown too of what they had stated. If not, I apologize and I can get that to you. But I asked her, what is that $199 a month? And that is really towards the software, the stuff that they use to provide the tools for us. Emma has $150 a month, and I think that's going to be more of a generating material and content. More so where I think the OC one will be more of developing at the start that particular content and then bringing it to where the whole algorithms and all that, where you get yourself out there when somebody types with county and Google, it's the first thing that pops up, it's just bringing it to the forefront on a lot of that stuff. Where I think there's more content development when it's Emma's proposal there.
Would the board like a little more time to review these and
Yeah,
bring it back?
yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jeremy. We'll look at that and come back next year. D, 2023 turkey hunt.
We've had some conversations in regards to that, and I'm going to, this is going to be my first, obviously, run with this, so I'm going to do everything that I need to make it successful, but I would like to just kind of pass this part on to Kate to give a little more update of what she's been in talks with Department of Commerce as well, so.
We have a meeting tomorrow with Department of Commerce, and they've kind of already laid out the guns, the hunting licenses, processes. I believe funding for merchandise will come from Business Roundtable. That typically has been $1,200 a year. That is what has been used to purchase guns. So Jeremy and I, if Jeremy is able to, because he's got a prior commitment with another business, but one of us or both of us will be in on that call tomorrow. The Lieutenant Governor will be here as traditional on the Thursday. Forgotten the date, I want to say April 20th of 2023 for the dinner. At a wrap-up meeting last year, Keith did indicate that it was getting to be a little bit more difficult all the time to get guides. With the drought now, with this recent rain, that will help a little bit, but not every landowner wants a bunch of people walking around on their property when fire hazards are so high. So we'll have to kind of pay attention to that a little bit. But I think the plan for us locally is to get together after the first of the year and kind of lay out everybody's responsibilities, and we're going to try and contract this a little bit rather than being a 3-day massive thing, to reduce it to exactly what it's intended to do. Not to discount any prospective business industry, but really focus on what this was intended to do. So we'll see what happens tomorrow at the Zoom meeting, and Safari Club, Randy, Sam Munhall and I have talked a couple of times, and he's offered to be a guide and take people out there. He's with the Safari Club of Oklahoma City, and they always bring a person up here, and they compensate us pretty well for that. And then the one thing that I'm not sure about is the National Wild Turkey Federation. They auction off a hunt every year. There's been change in leadership in that organization, so I'm not sure what will happen with it, but we're not planning any major changes. As far as I can tell, Commerce isn't, Lieutenant Governor isn't. So that's where we're at.
Dr. Decker, would that be the 20th and 21st or 19th and 20th?
Okay, is Wednesday the 19th?
That's what I was going to look at.
That'll be kind of our check-in, kickoff day, and then the actual hunt will be on Thursday, and some still like to go hunt on Friday morning.
So it'll be the 19th and 20th. 20th is the Thursday.
Yeah, so the dinner with the Lieutenant Governor will be the night of the 20th. And what we did last year that worked pretty well was we set aside time on Friday morning for businesses, industries. BNSF was here, their rep was at Avard and at Winoka. So we'll probably try to do that again, is pair people up with appropriate individuals in terms of prospective location of business and industry. And I don't know, Jeremy, what Ben, he may down at Winoka, he may be further down the road and wanting to do some. Last year was the first kind of, he just got here. So there may be quite a bit more with Winoka involvement this time, don't know. But we got some good stuff out of BNSF after last year. They came and went through the museum at Winoka, Harvey House, and that's a good thing, because then we had the follow-up conversation with their foundation. So that's going to create some funding opportunities for them that had not previously been open to them. So there were some good outcomes from last year, and I hope to see that grow this year.
Only thing to add, just a couple of things. I believe 7 p.m. is when it would be expected that the Lieutenant Governor would come.
Probably going to be 7:30 to 8-ish.
Yeah, it states, I think it was 5 to 6:30, or no, it was something, there was an hour in between from Woodward to come to.
Okay.
Yeah, and it depends on if he flies or drives. That makes a difference, and there's just a lot of variables, but he'll be here that evening, Thursday, the 20th.
And the other thing just to point out is, just as I say, I'm new, the person that is with the Department of Commerce who's heading this up is also new. So we're just kind of going with his flow. And so Kay and I, because of I think what was yesterday, we found out about the meeting tomorrow. And so I'm doing actually some product pictures for that, but I should be able to work around it, and we'll hopefully, I don't see any reason why I couldn't be on that call.
Okay. Any other questions about turkey hunt?
If you guys know of anybody who you feel like would like to attend, and that be a kind of a launch pad for something, please let us know and we'll send them an invitation. That's what this is supposed to be for. So in your contacts, your circles, that's what we need from you. Is give us names.
Okay. No action being taken on that. We'll move to 5E, updating the bank account signatories.
Okay, so this I actually opened up my mouth and just asked the banks as I was depositing things. So I said, who do you have as a list on there? And I don't honestly know if any of you are on the Alva State Bank. So I said, well, what do we need to do to solve that? And they said, have it in the meeting, have it in the minutes, give them the minutes, and that should solve that issue. As well as remove anybody that is on there that shouldn't be. There are apparently some, but unlike Bank Central, Alva State wouldn't give me the names of those people. So that's all we need to do is determine who do you want. It could be, my suggestion, since there's 2 signatures, at least 3, 4, what would you say?
I think typically we've done the president, the vice president,
Secretary.
and the secretary, and then you. So
Now, I don't know if it's wise to have me as one, because I receive,
Just for
checks.
writing the checks.
Right.
Yeah, this would be, signing.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's wise for me to.
Yeah, probably wouldn't.
So in the motion, do you need specific names then, or
Yes,
would the
yeah.
position be sufficient enough?
Think
You'll-
we need names.
Okay.
Yeah, names is what, that's what I'll need to type in the minutes, so.
I move that each officer, which would be Jeremy Eaton as chairman, Randy McMurphy as vice chairman, and Kate Decker as secretary, be included on the signatures for the bank accounts at each bank where we have accounts.
Could I ask a friendly
Sure.
portion of that on there?
Only friendly.
And you might ask that all other signatures be removed.
Yeah, I think, yes.
Add that
remove
to the
any
motion.
that
Any
don't
other-
have- Yes,
Thank you.
and I honestly don't know we don't know who those are.
It's kind of hard to know if they won't tell us right.
Yeah.
But of course,
Now you will.
if there's anybody that's not one of those three, then they'll just.
So I have a motion for Jeremy Eaton, Randy McMurphy, Kay Decker to be added to our signatures and remove any former signatures at this time. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Bradford,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Eaton,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
McMurphy,
Yes.
Stats.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Item 6, discussion and any possible action regarding goals and objectives for this upcoming year.
What do we have currently?
Well, I don't know currently if we actually have anything specific, whether from,
The job duties is what I gave you in regards of just anything that you would see or anything that you feel should be worked on moving forward. Of course, you've seen on my monthly reports, my monthly updates, and I also just gave you all a list because it was suggested of me to kind of do a rundown of what I've done since starting and the hours devoted to those particular categories. That was, if you don't have that particular piece of paper, I can get.
yeah, I was going to say, I think if you look at the essential, on the very back part of this agenda, the essential job functions, obviously that'll be, I think where Jeremy's talking about a lot of those. And then that second one was, which I appreciate, and I think you've done a good job of getting those out by email each time, so.
Jeremy, I was going to ask you the other day and didn't. Have we been able to get back with the state parks? You know, you and I had kind of made that cursory when you first came. Do you anticipate being able to get back with them on photography and programming?
We can, definitely. As far as the state parks in general as a whole, I've worked with Department of Tourism and talking as far as visiting Little Sahara personally or Alabaster. I've not returned back to either one of them. But yeah, if it's something in regards of, obviously photography or, if it's anything in regards of just seeing about involving them more in any of the stuff that we do, then yeah, that's something that can be looked at. As far as Department of Tourism, I did gather a lot of data. So this is in regards of attendance to the parks themselves, and then Susan and I actually have worked on a good handful of stuff with Little Sahara, not just for Ben Davis, but just as a whole, how much funding goes into the actual parks, because it is stated as, I believe it's the only park, isn't that correct? That I think the Lieutenant Governor had stated that makes a profit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so with that said, I reached out to them and they gave me the numbers, but it took me a lot more gathering and doing data and pulling bigger picture of how much that is, what time of the year that is, and highlight that. I do have some data for Alabaster, but nothing in regards to funds or dollars. I just have traffic that comes through there for them. And that's something I haven't gotten to work on, but, there's only so many hours in a day,
Right.
but that's another one to.
How much time are you anticipating needing to spend with the top grant for a guard?
The top grant, according to what they state, ends January 19th. So that's my understanding of what we've done there. I have another meeting, Zoom meeting on December 19th, and I've just been gathering additional information that they need. Hopefully that is the last of that part. They'll probably still hit me up for creating things. They submitted a spreadsheet to me that I had to gather a whole bunch of information, and special thank you to Randy McMurphy on that, because he got me a bulk of that with the water and the sewer end of it. And I had to compile it, put it all together, and just kind of set this whole thing up. So with December 19th, January 19th, I assume, I've not been told anything different, that should be the end of it with the top grant.
And
Fingers
then the hard work starts.
Right.
So is there any need, or do anybody see any action for number 6 on the goals and objectives?
There's plenty going on.
Yeah, and I think those job functions with what we hired it for, okay? So, item 7, again, is the budgetary needs on those goals and objectives. I mean, Jeremy, anything that you want to speak to that? Because I don't know if there'll be any.
If you just look, I want to point out, so we're talking the next to last page is the
23.
the 22 to 23 budget. That does involve promises that have not come in as of yet. So we do have some funding with a couple of them, but they have told me that those funds are coming in. One of them being a utility I had just talked to this morning because she saw me, and so she wanted to make sure that everything is done right and those funds. So that amount should be accurate. As you can also see, there is a lot of wiggle room that we can work with if we do have things that we want to approach, any new goals as we see moving forward that we didn't talk about today. There is that is a positive that is down there. That is not a negative. So.
Yep. So do I have a motion to approve the annual budget for FY23?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we
Oh,
approve.
well, we got a quick question before we.
One question on our expenses, do we need to put in here cost for an annual event?
That actually is something that is not, I don't
Or is
believe.
it part of something?
That's what I was wondering if it was part of something.
No, it
else.
is not. So that would be something to add.
Okay. Do you know how much we spent?
I want to say probably, I don't have the exact number, but overall it was probably around 1,700.
So 25 ought to get it?
Yeah, easily.
Can we make an,
Especially if we were to switch it to that mixer thought, that would drop it considerably. So I would say if you were to just list 2,000, you'll be over.
can we make an amendment to that now?
Yep. So if you want to make a motion approved with the amendment of the additional, you can say just annual appreciation event.
Okay. I move that we approve the budget for 22-23 with the amendment adding the $2,000 for an annual appreciation event of some type. So that would put us at total expenses of $102,302.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Okay, I have a motion to approve the annual budget for 22-23 with the amendment of adding the $2,000 expense for the annual appreciation event for a total expense of $102,302. Roll call?
Bradford,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Eaton,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
McMurphy,
Yes.
Staff.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion approved. Item 8, any discussion on actions the staff needs based on these goals? Jeremy, besides talking, I'm still working on the possible intern, but anything else that you want to speak to that?
No, I think everything, I'd like to express my appreciation to the Technology Center that has given me really free reign to do whatever I need with the equipment or the laminator. I've been using tripods, lighting. Tomorrow when I go to take pictures of the VAT products, I'll be using their equipment, so it's been exceptionally helpful. One thing we, in talking with a few, would like to perhaps start getting on those particular things, whether it's a menu design that I do or photography, getting the students at the Technology Center involved. And so I'm in talks with Jessica, who works that end of it, and we're going to see about, continuing that partnership, which is great.
Excellent. Okay. For 8, we have no possible action on this. We'll move to number 9. Any update for industrial development?
Yes, so that was this morning. We had our meeting, and just to pass on to you that Connor Martin has stepped down as president, and so he's no longer that position, so that is vacant. He also has stepped down from the committee, so he's no longer with the committee. Today was his last day, as he had stated. So I assume moving forward there, we'll be looking for a replacement.
And also Brody Bush.
Oh, yes, Brody Bush was added. Yeah, that's right.
Was Connor a chamber appointment, do you know?
I do not. I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
Or was he a city council rep?
He was a city, and he stepped down from that as well.
Well, I mean, didn't Dr. Hannaford, did city council have an appointment to that committee?
That could have been how he started, and then they kept him on after the fact.
Okay.
So I hope they find somebody
Yep.
quick. Agenda item 10 is the executive director's report. Again, we appreciate the feedback that you give us all the time, and any highlights you want to cover?
This one that was the 2-pager, I just created that for you so you can kind of see. I know coming up will be the evaluation, so you just see hours that were involved in each one of these. I tallied all that up, so that's something that's a little different from what you get on a monthly basis. And this is the overall since my start on June 1st. As for things that have been taking place that I sent on the monthly report, really a lot of involvement with ABART, and there's the possibility of ARPA and PrEP funds that are there. In fact, that was for those of you who were standing outside waiting to get in, that's what we were having a meeting about. Been working a lot with the pledges and trying to get the funding there. Really a lot of the other stuff you can see that just the generics of speaking at Rotary, business consultations. I continue to do that, and I continue to do follow-up. You'll see that overall report on here. Anybody who has any specific questions in regards to this or want more detail, I'm happy to give that. I just, when you do a business consultation, it's considered confidential. So as a board, I, just put it, that this is how many. But I am able to share a little bit more if somebody does have any questions. The only other thing that I can state was kind of a very, it doesn't seem like much, but it was a rather large victory for me, is that I finally got AT&T to drop the bill, and they gave a $493.70 credit. So that one right there, if anything, that's my legacy. I was able to
They'll get it back.
they may, but I was able to defeat AT&T.
They will get it back.
It took many calls with them. I cannot even tell you. And when I say a call with them, we're talking a call that you are placed on hold for about 2 hours before somebody. So I just put it on the speaker, and Kay, I apologize if you were in the room next to you hearing the music. But we finally got it to be solved, and that's good. And building just a lot of great new partnerships. I had a lot of partnerships when I came into this position, but I've developed a lot more. And of course, as you know, there's turnover quite a bit, so I had to find new people at the Department of Tourism. Not going to say why my particular contacts with tourism had left, but you probably can figure it out. And I made some really good ones that have gotten me those statistics that we needed for that. So that's part of what I'm going to continue to do, is just build those great contacts that I have. Like I said, this overall report just really gives a breakdown. If you want more specific of time that I have devoted towards each particular thing, I do have that written out here, and I figured it out. I did not put anything like restroom breaks in there, but I will say that just in regards of additional hours, I probably have put about 158, that's what it comes to, 158 additional hours. Working at home, not doing lunch, I include those sort of things as well. That's my choice. But when you kind of get on the roll of something, you just rather get it done as opposed to take a break and break momentum. So.
Like I tell you, I've heard a lot of compliments, so appreciate all you're doing.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Jeremy on the executive report? Okay, we'll move to item 11. Do I have a motion to enter executive session to discuss the employment year and the evaluation of our director?
So moved. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to enter into executive session. Roll call?
Bradford?
Yes.
Decker?
Yes.
Hannaford?
Yes.
Eaton?
Yes.
Sleeper?
Yes.
McMurphy?
Yes.
Stacks?
Yes.
And can I ask who did the motion and who second?
Susan did the motion and Kate